Bit Blur here, aka Sonic Boom 94, and today we're looking at the second part of Spider-Man Reign. In the last review of Spider-Man Reign, Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, had stopped being Spider-Man for about 10 or so years, while the rest of the superhero community had given up, or at least retreated. Eventually, through some persuasion of J Jonah Jameson, Spider-Man was able to make his reappearance and start his crusade against the Reign, who are pretty much just thugs, working for Mayor Waters, who plans to activate a program called Web, which will encase the city in a huge laser grid, which will prevent anything from coming. And the cover I'm using today is very, very dark. You have what's now called the Sinister Six, so far Electro, Kraven, the Sandman, and Scorpion, beating the living shit out of Spider-Man. Clearly, this won't look good in the comic itself. Speaking of which, at the start of the comic, we come back to our favourite character, J Jonah Jameson, carrying on his insultedness and screaming like mad. By this point, J Jonah Jameson has turned away from being very insulting to now acting like a preacher, or at the very least sounding like one. Look up! The heavens are full of snakes, and they have awakened the spider! Man, JJ is acting very crazy. I wonder who else he might be cooperating with to sell the Daily Bugle on the streets. Oh my god, this is the greatest newspaper I've ever read in my life! Once there was an itty-bitty spider. He used to climb up a water spout. But then the government were dicks and told him to move out. I used to be a spider once. I didn't like making webs. They hurt my ass. And then, after he left, huge snake people came from the sky. I have that problem every day. Snakes usually pour on a rainy day. And now, the spider is back, being dicks to people and saving our lives. Wait, what? All this and your other spider-related apocalypse horoscopes available in the Daily Bugle. Available if you got... Change! You got change! Come on, everybody! Come on, change! Oh, and at the beginning of this story, we get more nursery rhyme crap. Nursery rhymes weren't created for children. Yes they were. Stop trying to make us think. Their intent was never to soothe little babies or teach them finger games and language. They were warnings sounded by old men too scared to openly criticize those kings and queens that ruled their world. Warnings to the children, in the hopes that their parents might listen. Humpty Dumpty referred to King Richard III, Georgie Porgy to the second Duke of Buckingham. For centuries, children have been entertained by the warnings of scared old men. So listen closely, children. Listen for tonight's rhyme. Oh, okay. How could any comic writers would try and make nursery rhymes sound symbolic? We see on the front cover of this illegal version of the Daily Bugle that... Wait, there's a picture of Spider-Man from the first issue. How could that be taken? I mean... Generally, through what we saw in the first issue, there's no security cameras monitoring anything, so how exactly would that picture be taken? I don't think Jonah would be able to take it, because, well, he got the crap bit out of him, so I don't think he'd have the time to take a picture of it with a camera that he might have hidden in the pocket. Ugh, plot hole after any kind of plot hole any day. We then find ourselves to the Daily Bugle news channel, with, again, that Jimmy Olsen lookalike talking. Yes, he's back. Our very own Citizen Kane has come down from the mountain. Former newspaper baron J Jonah Jameson was spotted handing out illegal newsprint flyers on the streets of the city today, which were quickly carried off and distributed by a group of teens with old newspaper bags. And Olsen asked any citizens to report sightings of this very ill man, so they can give him all the help they need. Damn right he needs help. He's becoming a preacher and screaming off people, calling them thieves, snakes, liars, wicked people. If that's not ill, I don't know what is. Don't you just love it when they start comparing the old and insane to cult classic film characters? You know, I'm kind of wondering whether this guy has even seen Citizen Kane. Actually, here's the answer right now. Maybe now we can finally ask him just who this Rosebud person was. And his female counterpart replies with, it was his sled miller. All people are funny, aren't they, Var? Wow, nice to make yourself look like an idiot and completely ignore it, you dumbass. Yeah, clearly the Daily Bugle channel had the right mind to pick him as a broadcast news person. Anyway, this complete idiot spouts out some very keen exposition. Now, how's about the status of the web project? Words is, the project is proceeding as smooth as a baby's glistening bum. Glistening should not have been in that sentence. Anyway, his female counterpart reveals that apparently it's going ahead of schedule. And there's some irony right here. And that means that Mayor Waters must be a very happy man. And then we cut to Mayor Waters' office, and what does he say in this first scene? It can't be! Not now! It'd be a fucking old codger! You've seen the tape, sir. That codger just took down 2 heavily armed rain soldiers with his bare hand. Oh, yeah, and if you can't make out that thin, black, peachy line, that's Walter's assistant, Ed Sachs. Yeah, I might not have been able to point out how he's kind of helping Walters in a way, but trust me, as this miniseries goes on, he becomes more prominent and, well, a better planner at things than Waters is. Waters reveals his anger with, then what do you suggest we do, Sachs? Sit on our tails and just hope he wanders off the ranch? What, are you from Texas or something? What kind of figure is that? Anyway, Sachs reveals that, well, considering how you have an elderly man who's willing to kick asses, that they should forward the web project tonight. To catch the spider, you must first release some flies. And then he leads them to the vault, which apparently is something that even Sachs is a bit worried about, given the look on his face. And Sachs becomes even more of a villainous person once you hear his lines. They're looking for you. You are responsible for this city. You must show them your strength, sir. There is no one else. Oh, and if you're having trouble figuring out this guy's proper identity and hatred, well, keen hatred towards Spidey, how about this line? And with great responsibility comes great power. No, that wasn't in there just for an in-joke. That is actually important. Why? You'll find out later. Anyway, he leads them over to a certain dark room filled with a few rain soldiers and some oddly shaped silhouettes. Yeah, look at the middle one. His arm looks like it doesn't even exist. And one person, the hell? Did the artist have trouble trying to do in their left arm? And the head just looks like it's not even connected to the rest of the body. Naturally, just like we are, Waters is confused as to who these people are. Sachs, who are these creatures? Volunteers. Sinners looking for salvation. Your angels. I don't think angels is the best word to describe some bodyguards for a mayor who, let's be honest, is a bit of a dick, and he has an advisor who sounds even more of a bad guy than he is, and with guaranteed reason. Anywho, because I'm diverging, I'll carry on. These are basically the Sinister Six, who are this comic's version of the Sinister Six. And if you don't know who the Sinister Six are, the Sinister thing is basically what you would refer to a title of Spidey villains who got together and defeat Spidey. Well, if they try. Regularly there are about 6, heck, but there was even one storyline which featured 12, which so far is the highest number you'd see in the Sinister group. But anyway, that's not important. But the one thing that strikes me is that you don't see all 6 of these guys. You just see 5. Heck, you only briefly see Mysterio during this issue, and the other one, who is Hydro Man, you don't even see until the last. And even that one, he has no dialogue, and you don't even see him for I don't know, 10 panels or more. Sorry, spoilers, but I just thought I'd let you know that for a group entitled the Sinister Six, to show that he's not exactly the bad guy you thought you saw in the first issue, Walters realises it isn't exactly a good idea to have 6 very villainous bodyguards in the same area that will be soon an unimpenetrable fortress. Thankfully, to stop him from wedding himself, Sachs reveals to the mayor that there's a weapon that has conquered both devils and gods alike. Science. Science? Where does it say in the Bible that humans and angels and devils fought each other off with science? I don't know. Read between the lines, I guess. Seriously, who wrote this line? I mean, any kind of religious guy would go, huh? There's science in the Bible? Seriously. I think the guy who wrote this probably had no concept that there's no science in the Bible or any religious related thing. Worst line in this comic. Sachs explains that each of the Sinister Six have been planted with microthermal explosives, so in case they ever strayed against them, they would be blown up in an explosion so powerful that it would obliterate the Sandman's sand grains and Hydro-Man's water drops. Yeah, even though that Hydro-Man isn't in any of these panels in this issue. I think this was supposed to imply for those who can't see him that Hydro-Man is part of the Sinister Six. But we can't see him, so a bit of a fail. Anyhow, Sachs also tells them that the reason why the Sinister Six have been signed to this is because they'll be promised freedom from the city if they kill Spidey. Well, to be honest, I can't blame them. If I knew that my city was going to be basically like a completely solitary island, I'd probably do something to get out of there, in case anything really bad happens. I mean, I hate to side with the bad guys on this, but they actually do have a good point with trying to, well, escape. I mean, seriously, I don't think it occurred to Mayor Walters that people might start to kill each other inside the web and be completely offline with the rest of the outside world. Yeah, basically Walters is an idiot, and you know something is off when you have to side with the bad guys at one point for their reasons. The next scene shows the pink-haired girl from the first issue, and she realises that the ink is leaving her fingers on during the rain. She realises that it must be cheap paper like the ones they used in comic books, and she's actually kind of confused a bit when she looks at Spider-Man's mask. So, this is what he looks like, huh? I thought his mask was red. You know, I don't think it might have occurred to her yet that a superhero can have many different types of costumes and yet have the same basic design. Anywho, a rain guard appears and snatches the paper. Place the contraband on the ground. Why have I heard that line before? Oh yeah, it was used in the I am the law segment of the last issue. Cleanup crews are being dispatched. And then he chucks the girl onto the ground because, well, it's his job and the newspaper's already got material. Another rain guard appears and says that you're lucky we don't throw your scrawny butt in jail. And the rain guards, being complete pricks, just leave the damaged girl on the ground, walk away, laugh, and it turns out that that hit was so hard that she now has a bloody nose. And then she has to rant at them, calling jerks. Kid, they hit you to the ground without trying. I don't think calling them jerks would be good, considering how in the last issue they stunned one of your friends to the ground. After that case of child abuse, a boy appears in the alley. He reveals that he's been watching her, and then says a bit of a funny line to me. I don't think you know where to go. Who you are. I look at you and I see a cage. A cage? Who is this kid? Okay, yeah, he says his name is Casey, and Then we get some more offlines. I have a place you might want to see. A man you might want to meet. He sees the cage too, but he's got the keys. We're going to try the lock tonight. Okay, yeah, I understand that he basically means that the cage means the web program, but if you look at it from any other context, it just feels like he's a hippie. Hey, ma'am, we're gonna try and leave the cage. This man here, he's got the keys. You gonna join us, man? The pink-haired girl points out the oddity of his lines. Wait, let me get this straight. You want me to go down a dark alley with you? Go back into your little alley and wait for someone prettier, someone dumber. You know, it's probably a good idea considering you two have got to be at least the same age. I understand that you find it a bit weird, but what I don't understand is that he's the same age as you, so why don't you go? The only way I think that last line would work would be if he was 10 years older than you, in which case it would be clearer. But in any bizarre... In any case, despite the fact she told him to piss off, Casey says, there's a bunch of us meeting up. If you want a friend. Huh. Apparently in the future, you can meet new friends in alleys. Ha! Fuck Facebook. Or YouTube. Or MySpace. Or Twitter. Just go down the alleys in 30 years' time. You'll meet a lot of friends. That scene, which was about 2 pages long, is now cut out with one of Peter Parker, who, as you guessed by the narration, is a bit paranoid. Gotta pack, gotta leave, go, go, go. He realises that since J Jonah Jameson found him out, there might be some other people trying to find him. And also, we get more narration towards the wife who is apparently dead. She's been at the window all day. I've never seen her so pretty. Like an angel at heaven's gate. MJ? I want to go. I want to go to her. Touch her. Tell her I'm sorry. What the hell are you waiting for? Go, go, go. Move! It's not safe here anymore. Gotta go. Gotta go. Jeez, this guy keeps repeating the same word every time. God, I think he's got Frank Miller syndrome. That's that bad. Oh, come to think of it, I think this is one of those cases you might want to draw the line between this and The Dark Knight Returns. Heck, you would expect Frank Miller to write this dialogue, considering how it's known that in his work, the All-Star Batman and Robin, he was known for repeating the same dialogue dozens of times. Anywho, to make himself a little bit prettier for fangirls, Peter Parker decides to shave off his beard. And... yeah, okay. He wants to make sure that no one can recognize him. And he gets a bit of a nick. And he bleeds. Okay, is that supposed to be a dramatic moment? Look at the way he's on the ground. It's like as if he's found out that he lost an arm or something. Or one of his parents have died. That's a nick. Bugger, I could have nicks and it wouldn't be that bad. And again we cut to the pink-haired girl. That was 3 pages of stuff we could have seen in a completely different time. Why don't they just connect the 2 pink-haired girl segments together? We wouldn't know. We get narration from her. Stupid, stupid! You don't even like boys. And you don't like strangers, let alone strange boys. Stupid. You don't like boys. Now, I can take that line and you would find it in 2 different contexts. One, she's at an age where she likes boys but doesn't exactly find them interesting. 2, she could be a lesbian. Given how she's a kid, I'm going to refrain from that last one and just stick with the first one. And eventually she stumbles across a church. She points out a pretty interesting, well, fact. Says, where do you find a church in an alley? Oh, back room. Right. It's probably not even a church anymore. The cross is gone. Just a rust mark where it used to hang. Well, from what I can see, it does look pretty church-like. And hey, where are you going to find a church in the back alley? Oh, I could probably go into a sewer and find a church entrance there. That will be just as likely. The girl wonders where Casey is, and I'm not kidding here. We hear more rants from J Jonah Jameson. Isn't that lovely? Even in the narration boxes, this kid has to point out how crazy this guy is. A man. An old man. A crazy man. An old crazy man in a church with no cross down the back alley that I ran into by following a strange boy. Again, this sounds like Frank Miller writing. Oh, and it turns out that J Jonah Jameson is once again a preacher. The heavens are black and soot. They forced us underground to hide the bells because they fear them, because they are the thing that will hurt them. And he's inside, and to make this preacher stuff sound even more obvious, he's at a stall behind a bell with masses of kids on church seats. Screw it, I am not going over all this dialogue, because if I did, it would make this review as just even more longer than it has to be. And believe me, I try and make my reviews as short as possible, which you might find funny considering how long they are. Now here's the line that just makes me go, J Jonah Jameson, what are you on? And if so, can I try some? He says that the person trying to get all of them for his plans is the devil. The devil. I know that Mephisto was involved in One More Day, but I don't think even he would want to say, you know what, I might be the devil, but you know what, I'm just going to play with all these people trapped in the town and play hide and seek with them. And we have more questions. You want safety? You want security? You don't look for someone else, you look inside. Inside? If I looked inside, all I found would be organs, blood and the heart. And lungs. Yeah, that's about it. If I looked inside, I would just find stuff I'd already know, you idiot. Oh, here's the beauty. Look at this. Look at his moustache. He looks like Hitler. Huh. Think about this. Not only is it a crazy old man combined with a crazy old preacher, he's now a crazy old Hitler, who thinks that the devil's after them. I love this guy. Oh, and do you remember that line that Sachs said about with great responsibility there has to be great power? Yeah, here's Jonah Jame's version of it. Because when you give away personal responsibility, you give away personal power. Well, tonight we're taking it back. How? We'll take it back with one voice. Yours. You know, it was okay just hearing Sachs say it, but with you saying it, Jonah, I think that line is starting to lose credibility here. I know it's supposed to be like a theme in this miniseries around Peter, but when you just don't even say it in front of Peter, it just doesn't work. Jonah offers even less enthusiastic lines. And if you stand beside me, that voice turns to 2, and the person beside you makes 3. And then with the person standing beside you, we have 4, and then beside him we have 5, and 6, and 7, and 8, and 9, and 10. That's what we've learned today, how to count to 10. Next week, we're going to count to 100. Be sure to bring your parents and friends too. Yes, someday we might go up to 1,000. God knows when. And then we get to see Casey again. It turns out, with a laptop, he's planning to hack into the network, so that, in other words to interpret J Jonah Jameson's rantings, they're going to take over every single screen in the city in order to get their message across. And of course, by this suggestive panel, Casey's about to do some hacking. To demonstrate the hacking, we cut to outside with very large screens in New York City displaying the Daily Bugle news. You know, I always knew that New York had big signs, but I didn't expect they'd have big signs over buildings, with windows and everything. Anywho, the Jimmy Olsen Pratt reveals that he's pretty much broadcasting to us the whole, apparently we're gonna issue web tonight. And oh god, why do we still have J Jonah's crazy rantings? Liars! Thieves and liars! All of them! Wake up! Look up! Even this old guy saying, what the hell? Hey, if some crazy old guy shouted at us to wake up and look up, I'd be saying that line too. They try to fool us! Wake up! Look to the truth! Hell, you can't even go to a pub without some crazy old guy hacking into news. Anyway, we still cut. It turns out that they're using the image that they somehow obtained from issue 1. And like when it was shown on the newspaper, we still have no idea how they caught it. Witness the truth! He hides among us! And then we got to a kid with a big head and a very small body. I thought in cartoons that would be pretty much the only way you could have such physics. But no, this is human anatomy 30 years into the future. And the kid points out, the cartoon stopped. There are only words and funny pictures. There's only one picture, you prat. I don't think you played the counting game with Jonah earlier on. It's even invaded local homes. J Jonah Jameson. Hacking terrorist. Media nuisance. Overall crazy man. And to provide other narration, we cut to an entire crowd who is the cities of New York must have some really big streets or a lot of people, since there appears to be a really big crowd, and for some reason they're outside Peter Parker's place. I don't know how, but they just are. And we get narration from someone who we haven't seen in this issue before, but if you're a big Spidey fan who know your villains, you probably know this guy. The crowd will be the big tonight. Biggest I've ever played, maybe. Closed the total tape shop early. Business has been slow anyways. People don't know, man. Never sounds as good as it does on tape. Adrenaline. Nerves. Almost forgot what this felt like. It feels good. Been waiting for this for a long time. If he really is back, he's gonna need some help. Some real old school shit. And for those of you who don't know, this is the Hypno Hustler, an old Spiderman villain that Spidey faced back in the 70s. And apparently he's out to help Spidey. Huh, who would have figured an old villain would try and reborn a hero? This is it. The one track I've been saving for all these years. The one that'll make people remember I used to be something. We all did. 'Cause today the Pied Piper is playing his flute. Today the Godfather of Funk makes a comeback. Is that a mask? He's gonna fall hard on that sucker. Today I have returned. Give around, people. You gotta start shaking the change out of those pockets. You listening, jackers? Shake that thing. Shake it. Shake it. 2 preachers in one day. What a surprise. First it was a crazy old man. Now it's a fat hipster who can't even get the 70s out of his system. And he's playing some music. Thankfully, this is the only time we get one such example of 2 preachers in the same issue. And the reason why he's putting on music in the middle of this is because this is the one thing that the Hypno Hustler works at. Hypnotizing people into dancing. Otherwise he'd just be called the Hustler. Heck, even the rain guards are affected by this. What are you? That sound. Can't stop dancing. Help, stop if I don't want to dance. It's just amusing and cool at the same time. The Hypno Hustler hypnotizing a bunch of guards through music to dance their asses off. I'm back, the Hypno Hustler has returned, and tonight the whole city's gonna dance! Unfortunately, the Hustler's music runs out. Ah, didn't I put fresh ones in? Yeah, bit of a bugger up. Huh. And is it just me or does his afro seem smaller? Huh, maybe it could be the art. The rain guards aim their guns at him. And J Jonah Jameson can't help but smile. This is just the opening act. Watch closely, kids. You're about to learn something. Narration from the kid. The disco ball drops. The crazy old man grabs my shoulder. Makes me watch. We all do. We watch. Jonah, you crazy old bastard! You're really taking pleasure out of an old retired villain getting shot down. I mean, Jesus, look at the blood on the floor. I mean, sure, it's not 18 rated horror blood, but still. This old guy had a lot of bullets pumped into him to generate that amount of blood. We shift back to Peter, who is still contemplating on leaving the city. He thinks about going to North Canada, and whether or not they might be able to make it, and also about how they might sleep off. And, yeah, he's still pretty out of it, I'm not surprised. He still talks to his dead wife, and acts as if she's still alive. And, yeah, at this point you have to feel sorry for him. Then he grabs his obviously 3D looking suitcase and shouts, "Pack!" My god, you could use that one bit and put it for an inspirational video on going to holiday. Quick! Grab your suitcase! We need to pack! I swear the airlines are able to give us a nice place in the Caribbean. We need to go. Now! Brought to you by Crazy Old Man Airlines. When you go baddie, you know you want to go on a good holiday with your deceased wife who you think is still alive. Peter realizes that MJ is looking for something outside the window. What is with his eye designed in this panel? It looks like someone copied the Superman animated series style, for heaven's sake. Peter thinks that the crowd outside is a parade, and he realizes that he kind of recognizes the old guy. And, unfortunately, the rain guards, being even more bastards that they are, use a bloody rocket launcher to attack him. And, oh, bloody hell, we've still got that nursery rhyme shit. Goosey, goosey, gander, whither shall I wander? Upstairs and downstairs, and in my lady's chamber. Okay, the art design shows that the Hypno Hustler has a black afro. Oh, never mind, anymore. Anyway, we've got... Here is some more of that bullshit. There I met an old man who wouldn't say his prayers. I took him by the leg and threw him down the stairs. Fire away! And then we see the rocket zoom off. Oh, and then we have this completely necessary panel. For the first time in 30 years, I see her smile. So let me get this straight. Oh, this is just like the movie The Iron Lady. The old delusional person in both these instances somehow is able to figure out that there's something in an area that they wouldn't normally notice. Oh, well, I have to at least say that Spider-Man Reign makes even more sense than Iron Lady. Yeah, I went there. Well, for those Thatcher fans who care. And over the next page we see... Did someone spill ink remover on this? Oh, wait, sorry. It turns out that in his odd mind he is trying to find a car because he thinks that MJ might be in trouble. As the car goes closer, we see that it is in fact MJ who's driving the car. And then we see Peter shout, "Stop!" We see his horrified expression as the car collisions. And then we get some nice narration from him. As, slowly but surely, we see him going in his Spider-Man costume. Pain doesn't make a sound. It's the crunching of bone, the splitting of flesh that you hear. When your heart breaks, it's that same noiseless moment. Like falling through space. Silent. Weightless. I don't know how the costume got under my clothes. Old habits? I don't remember putting on the mask. I never do. But the sound is always the same. Oh, and before we move on from this, I'd just like to point out, I love how he just got blasted by a rocket launcher, and his first words are, "Oh, crud." Are you implying that you can just get hit by anything, and just act in a sort of laid-back thing? What would happen if you got shot? Hey, come over here for a second. Oh, bugger. I'm shot. That's a pain. And now we have the highlight of this issue. One huge panel of Spider-Man leaping out of his now destroyed apartment, running, or rather jumping towards these rain guards, shouting, "Woohoo!" Pretty much like his energetic self in his awesome black costume. Oh yeah, this is gonna be a bloodbath. And there comes Spider-Man beating the absolute living shit out of these guards. And also, like classic Spidey, he has to make a bit of a joke every once in a while. So this dog goes into this barn with a gun. Says, "I'm looking for the man that shot my pa." Jameson's finally smiling at all this. "Casey, keep that jack running. They might have shut down an old man giving away newspapers on the corner, but not this. This is loud." And then we get narration from Katie. "I don't really know what I'm seeing. Is this the guy my dad talked about? The one we've been looking for? I thought he'd be bigger." "I'm outnumbered! Shouldn't you be winning? You know, there are three kinds of people in this world. Those that can count, and those that can't." The pink-haired girl realizes that Casey's ready, and wonders if, due to being in this group, if she can be just as strong as they are. We then cut to a little kid watching a TV. A fairly old TV, given how this is supposed to be set in the 2030s. Nice to see in 30 years in the future, they're gonna still feature 1950s TVs. A mom comes over and sees exactly the clip of Spidey beating the crap out of a bunch of guards. But in the next panel, she's okay with him watching it. There's one panel with everyone watching. You've got three middle-aged guys in the middle of the street, and the middle one's holding the phone. "What's going on, Colin?" "Jesus, that is cool." "Damn right it's cool, it's Spider-Man!" "Hey, look at the guy on the right. Man, what the heck is with the art? It looks like he's going for some fit." The big girl still narrates, saying that it's been 30 years since anything like this, save from terrorists, aka superpowered heroes and villains, and otherwise known as the Men in Masks. A few rain guards disperse, realizing that the trackers are somewhere in this location. Jameson asks the public, "You see? Are you watching? Liars! Crooks!" Then he gets handled to the ground by a rain guard, noting that he's in the crowd. Jameson says about that even though they've put him down, they can't stop all of what's going on. And luckily, to help him out, the pink-haired girl chucks a bottle at the rain guard's head, loosening his grip. The girl shouts out, "You think you're so tough? Stupid move, you little witch. Now I'm gonna..." Luckily, this inspires some of the crowd to go against the rain guards, like this guy who suspiciously looks like my dad. "Gonna what, jerk? That's an old man you're beating on." And, well, the entire crowd gang up on this one rain guard, just like how Spider-Man's kicking the asses of all of these rain guards. However, Casey reveals that the hack's been traced, so they haven't got enough time before it's going to be snatched. But then a voice appears behind him. No, you don't." And then we see, oh my god! Yes! Yeah, we have the, I might as well say it, Sinner 4. Since you see just the Sandman, Scorpion, Kraven the Hunter, and Electro. There's no Mysterio or Hydro Man in sight in this panel. The worst part about this is that Craven has just impaled Casey. One thing I'd like to ask though is, considering how big that knife is, and that I'm not entirely convinced that Casey's shirt is made of rubber, wouldn't the knife go through the fabric? In any case, we see Casey's obviously terrified look, as in, oh my god, I've just been impaled, I'm going to die. And Craven reveals, let the hack run. Mayor Waters wants the city to watch us beat the crap out of this geriatric freak show. And during his Spiding's battle with the rain, he notices Casey. That kid walking towards me. Something familiar about him. And then boom, he gets blasted by Electro. Then we see in this panel, Mysterio to the side. Yeah, he's not quite there more prominently, but yeah. Anyway, Electro, looking like he's having some sort of orgasm, says, oh, that feels good. Been a while, webhead. And then Spidey's sent into the Sandman. Scorpion then uses his abnormally long tail to blast him into, I swear to God, like 50 feet. Whee! It was almost worth it. All the waiting around in that cement box, waiting for this. And then we see Mysterio more prominently, but no Hydro Man. Anyway, Sandman wallops Spider-Man onto the ground, and Jonah is restrained by more guards. Show them, Parker! Show them! Meanwhile, the mum and the kid close their eyes, knowing that there might be doom ahead. And then we hear Craven again. They say the spider is one of the world's most effective predators. But me, I'm more than a predator. I am the hunter! And then with his knives, he starts cutting at Spider-Man. I killed you before, Beast, but I never did collect my trophy. Your head. And as you see, Spider-Man's in fear over this. And I swear Craven referenced Craven's Last Hunt, which he tranquilized Spidey into thinking that he's dead. And then... Oh. Splurt. Craven holding up Spidey's masked head and shouting, Gah! Yeah, given that roar, you'd think that he wouldn't have second thoughts about him being a man. Oh, thank God. Spider-Man's alive. Everyone sees that he's an old man, bloodied, beaten, and bruised. Then the pink-haired girl says, he's just an old man. If you heard tales about him from your dad, what do you think? And then, what the hell? Am I over the same panel? No, this is the same... Yes! This is the same panel, just a little closer, and with a few minor alterations to the face. Talk about being cheap. Anywho, the little girl runs away, realising that he is weak. No duh. And, yeah, Jonah's given a little bit of a wake-up call. No, Peter, wake up. It's already awake, you moron. And then we see the series of panels of Spidey being beaten up by the Sinister Six. Now we get narration. The Greek playwrights relied heavily on a storytelling device to get their heroes out of an impossible situation. They called it the Deus Ex Machina. Tentacle? Oh. God from the machine. An actual device that would descend from the stage, from the heavens, on ropes and pulleys, and rescue the hero of the play from the forces of evil pitted against him. Are you kidding me? It is. And, yeah, Doc Ock, who, God knows how old he is, beats the crap out of Electro, and he doesn't even hit Sandman, because he's looking at her going, what the hell is this? And he grabs Spidey, and then you see this huge panel of the moon, where you see Doc Ock's silhouette, his tentacles, and Spider-Man. What the hell? He's several feet into the air? wouldn't that make landing a bit of a tricky one?
Don't worry, Parker. Here on Doc Ock Airlines, we'll make sure that we have a 100% landing. Watch out! I really must fix those tentacles. Maybe I'll get a jetpack sometime.
And, like always, we have to hear narration from Spidey about his long-lost wife.
I know where I'm going. I was just a long time ago. I'm going to meet her.
And now we cut back to the Daily Bugle news, where our Jimmy Olsen lookalike is in fear, I guess? His first sentence is, terror in the streets, but his face is still that constant thing. What is it with this? Is he like the Joker? Is his face always like that? And obviously you realise that obviously the media's a bit manipulative, as he's telling us, and I'm sure he was told this, that the explosion that the rain caused to Peter's apartment was actually an explosion from a terrorist attack, and that Rain responded, contained the threat, and now, in order to prevent said quote-unquote terrorist attacks, Walters is using it as an opportunity to say, I'm going to operate the web by midnight. And, yeah, it appears to be that the web is now active. And now, we see with the last panel, Walters smiling evilly and gleefully, with Edward Sachs, his supervisor, and let's face it, more of a competent bad guy than he is, smiling in the background. Let us never forget that there is a price for freedom. It does not come cheap. We then cut to Casey's dead body being zipped up. Let us thank those who fought the terror. Let us never forget them. And we see Jonah being carried away, along with the other kids. For they show us courage. They show us the way. And then we see Casey back to the graffiti that was in the first issue. They remind us of a better tomorrow. They remind us we are not alone. Man, that is ominous. And the final scene on the last page, Peter realises that there's a sound of scraping. He's bloodied, battered, and his costume's in tatters. And he realises that Doc Ock is digging. And he realises that he is in front of the graves of Mary Jane, his Uncle Ben, and his Aunt May. And that was the second issue of Spider-Man Reign. How is it? Well, it's nice to see that we see Jonah being a bit active and helping Spidey out. Even if he does continue to sound like he's a still senile old man crossed with a preacher. But, you know, it's nice to see Spider-Man kicking the asses of tons of these rain guards, and the fight with the Sinister Six shows that, hey, even if he is Spider-Man, he's still an old guy. And plus, he's not as energetic as he used to be. It is a wonder and a bit of a fangasm to see him going up against those rain guards, and yeah, it's good. And plus, the cliffhanger ending shows, you know, what exactly is this ultimatum of the web supposed to provide on Walter's part, except for, well, containing the city. Why does Doc Ock want to help Spider-Man? And also, there are the remaining questions that still loom in the air. How did MJ die? What's Sack's ultimate goal? And will J Jonah Jameson take some meds and go to rehab to stop shutting up? Well, for all those questions and more, stick around, and I'll be reviewing Reign, Issue 3. We're halfway through this series, and by God, things are gonna get really, really good. Well, better. See you around, fellow Spidey fans. This is Sonic Boom 94, the Blue Brit Blur signing off.